Hello, everyone. I'm Stacy. I'm going to be answering your guys' questions today and giving you a little bit of a presentation. Just want to make sure everything is working out okay. If you guys want to throw on the question side, if you can see me, hear me clearly, if anyone wants to toss that in there just so I know, that would be super helpful. I'm going to be looking out for you. Looks like we've already got some questions coming in, so that's awesome. But no one's responding to me if you can see or hear me. So I'm just going to assume that you can. All right, so we're going to start with kind of just a little presentation. I have some slides that I'll show you guys. If your mentor did their job right, you guys are going to know all this information already. It's probably going to be review for most of you, but we kind of want to recreate the in-person welcome sessions that we used to have when we did in-person interviews before the mentor program was rolled out. So that's what I'll be doing. It'll be really short, really basic, and then I'll kind of just open it up for questions and start answering your guys' questions. So I'm going to make sure that I can share my screen with you here so you can see my slides because they're pretty cool. One sec, y'all. Yay, someone said I can see and hear you. That's good to know. Thank you. I need that confirmation because I feel like I'm talking to myself when I always start this, so thank you. Okay, cool. So let me get my screen share started, and I will show you these awesome slides that I have. Here they are. So okay, so I've got my slides up. Sometimes we have weird technical difficulties and people can't see the slides. So if you're seeing my face right now instead of the slides, I'm sorry. It's not the end of the world. I'll be reading everything that's on them so you can just listen. But I'm going to go ahead and start. So welcome to Lyft. First off, really excited to have you. And thank you guys for joining today for this little welcome session. I'm just going to go over a little bit of Lyft culture and community, day in the life of a Lyft driver, and some pro tips. This is an awesome picture. I hope you guys can see it. This is like one of the first ever driver get-togethers. These are a lot of folks that work at Lyft HQ and still work here today, and a lot of our original San Francisco drivers, which is really cool. So what is Lyft? Well, Lyft is your friend with a car. It's cheaper than a cab, and it's more fun, and it's a community movement. Our ethos, we delight our passengers with service. We have kind of a best friend mentality, make people feel really comfortable and safe in your ride, make it feel like they're riding with a friend. We encourage passengers to sit shotgun, but they don't have to. So if you get a passenger that wants to sit in the back seat, don't sweat it. That's totally fine. Some people just want to sit in the back and ride along quietly, and that's fine too. But you can always let them know, like, hey, you're welcome to sit in the front if you'd like. If not, that's okay. Don't have to be pushy about it. We play good music in our cars. You let your passengers DJ if they're into that. In your guys' welcome kits, you'll all get an auxiliary cable that people can connect their phones to if they have some music on their phone or their iPod, if they want to play their own tunes. We highly encourage picking up some extra chargers for different types of phones, Android and iPhone, and offering your passengers a charge on their phone. I can't even say how many times from personal experience that my Lyft drivers have saved my life by having chargers. I have an Android, and it's always dying, and it's been really incredible to be able to charge my phone in people's Lyfts. And just remember, two really awesome basics: smile and drive safely. Follow all the rules of the road. We rock the mustache. This one is super important when you get your welcome kit and you get that bright pink furry mustache, be sure to rock that on your car. And just a little bit of warning, people will stop and stare, and they will probably take pictures. Little kids love it. Dogs are really intrigued by it. It really puts a smile on a lot of people's faces, and it's really fun to watch people's reactions, especially when you're in a new Lyft city and people don't quite know what Lyft is yet. It's so great to get people pointing and staring. They might even stop and ask you what it is, which is a great opportunity to educate them about Lyft. Fist bumps, definitely a big part of the Lyft culture. Fist bumps are used as an icebreaker, a way to set the tone for the ride, and a way to just kind of establish that your friend with a car vibe. Might feel a little silly at first if it's not something you're used to, and that's totally okay. Felt a little unnatural for me at first too, but I was really excited to get started with it. Sometimes it's helpful to just say, hey, in a Lyft we fist bump, and introduce it that way so you're not left hanging with your fist in the air. Community. So don't squeeze in extra people. This is something that you might encounter a lot, especially on weekend nights. You get big groups of friends that are out drinking, and they want you to take a fifth person when you can only seat 4 in your car. It's against the law. It's also just very unsafe, and don't do it. Just let them know that you can only take as many people as you have seatbelts in your car, and if they need a second lift, have someone else in the group request another lift. Maybe there's someone who's never used Lyft before. You can offer them your personal referral code, and they'll get that ride for free, which is really cool opportunity to get a new user using the app and to share your referral code. Leave your puppy at home, so don't bring a pet in your Lyft. Don't bring a friend. Make sure everyone buckles up. Definitely important. I like to play the mom role in my Lyft and say, okay, everyone buckle up before I start driving. Safety and also the law in most states. If you're in any kind of fender bender, do call our support line. We have a critical support line. It's a phone number that you can call in any kind of accident, regulatory issue, or safety situation. It is for emergencies only, so make sure that you reserve it for that. But definitely call our team. Even if it's no biggie, we want to know. We want to have it on record, so make sure to share that info with us. Keep it positive while you're in your Lyft. Keep a positive attitude, keep the conversation light, keep it about positive topics, and be perceptive, because some of your passengers are going to like it quiet, and you'll be able to tell, especially if you're really getting people. Someone might come in and just be playing on their phone right away, and you kind of get that vibe right away that they don't want to have a conversation, and that's totally fine. So it's important to be perceptive and see what kind of mood your passenger is in and tailor your Lyft accordingly. Don't force conversation if maybe the passenger is busy checking their email or something like that. This is my favorite slide. This is my favorite thing to share. We really encourage Lyft drivers to express yourselves. Let your personality shine through your Lyft. This is Cindy. She's one of our first drivers ever, and she's still a driver today. She's a yoga instructor, and she uses pink Post-it notes with positive motivational quotes and affirmations to better people's days. She also offers organic sugar-free chewing gum and lavender mist for stressful days. Really cool. You can really see that yoga teacher vibe of her coming out in her Lyft, which is really awesome, and we super encourage that. There are all kinds of themed Lyfts out there, and you can do really awesome things really simply without having to get too extravagant with it. I mean, Cindy has a pink Post-it that just says, always do your best, stuck to her dash, and it's such a small thing that's simple that takes no time or money or effort, and it can really make a passenger's day. So we definitely encourage stuff like that. Support to the rescue. As I mentioned, our life support line is only for emergencies, so make sure anything else that you're contacting support via email. If you go to our help center, there's a contact us button, and that'll help us funnel which team your question should go to, so make sure you're using that. Some of our top support issues, just going to go over real quick, just 4 of them. One is, if you're having troubles with the app, if the app is freezing, try force quitting. That's always something that can be helpful. Try toggling airplane mode, things like that. If you still have issues, you can always contact our team, and make sure to include screenshots because that's always helpful. Lost and found, definitely a top support issue. We recently, a couple months ago, started implementing this method on passenger ride receipts, where if they left something in your Lyft, they can click this link on the receipt to contact you and let you know. But if you find something and maybe your passenger hasn't reached out to you, give it a few days, see if they follow up. If not, just shoot an email to our support team at support@lyft.com and let them know what you found, and as much information as you can if you know which specific ride it was. If not, maybe the time that you drove and you found it at this time, so it must have been someone before that. Just as much information as you have, and we'll try to get it matched up. Connectivity issues are definitely another one. Don't stress out. I know it's frustrating when you might be trying to end the Lyft and it's saying that you're having a connectivity issue. Just move. Sometimes just relocating a few blocks will help. Toggling airplane mode is a really, really good one. So just put your phone on airplane mode and then turn it off airplane mode, and that'll help refresh your connection. So that can help a lot. And lastly, cancellations. Definitely a normal part of lifting. I know how frustrating it can be. I'm a driver myself. I know that you get a request and you're really excited and you start heading to the passenger and then they cancel. It's just a normal part of lifting, so try not to sweat it, first off. Secondly, I just want to note that in newer markets, it's a lot more common because people are downloading the app for the very first time. They're getting used to it. They're learning how it works. They tap that request Lyft button, and they don't realize that it's actually going to bring a person to them, and then they panic and they cancel. So, try not to get too stressed out about it. We do have situations where the passenger may be charged a cancellation fee of $5 that goes entirely to you. Check out our help center and search for cancellations. You'll see how it works on the passenger side when they get charged. And we also just recently implemented a no-show policy in which if you've waited at least 3 minutes at the pickup location, you've attempted to call your passenger, and they still haven't showed up, you can cancel as a no-show, and that will also charge them $5, which goes straight to you. So make sure you familiarize yourself with those policies as well. Next slide is on ratings because they matter a lot. So our rating system is kind of a way to self-regulate the community, and it's been super effective. Most passengers are going to rate you 5 stars, and an average 4.8 or higher means you're doing an excellent job. We try to make it really clear on your driving summary what you need to do to improve. Excuse me, just had to take a little sip of tea there. If a passenger does rate you 4 stars or lower, it will prompt them to have the option to select from 4 areas of improvement, which are cleanliness, friendliness, safety, and navigation. These are the things that passengers most commonly rate lower for, so we give them the opportunity to check 1 or more of these boxes so that you can know where you need to improve. If a passenger rates you 3 stars or lower, or if you rate a passenger 3 stars or lower, you guys will never be matched up again. So that's just kind of a good to know. If you have any particular situation where you don't want to be matched up with someone again, 3 stars or lower, we'll make sure that that happens. Or it doesn't happen, rather. Maximizing your Lyft loot. So kind of just some pro tips on maximizing your earnings. Drive during peak hours. This might be a little different depending on which city you're in, but in most places it's going to be morning and evening commute times during the week when people are getting to and from work, and it's especially going to be weekends, especially late nights on weekends like Friday, Saturday night. People are going out. That's definitely when a lot of lifts are happening and you can make the best money, and that goes for all cities. Another tip is to accept every request that you receive. So do not be in driver mode if you're not ready to accept all the requests that come your way. Go above and beyond for passengers. And, going above and beyond, sometimes that just means like listening and being friendly and generating a great but you know, there are some navigation issues, you went the wrong way. So it's always important to use navigation so that even if you really feel like you know where you're going, just as a backup to have plugged in the address and have navigation going. And then waiting in optimal locations is also key. Some coverage area maps on the help center will have hotspots based on data we've seen that show that these are the busiest areas. Some we don't have enough data yet to have those on there, but you can always ask your fellow drivers. People are going to have great ideas. And also, I mean, you guys are the local city experts, so you're probably already going to have a good idea of what the most optimal locations are. If you've got, you know, a downtown with a stretch of bars, that's going to be a great weekend spot to hang out. You know, in San Francisco, we've got the financial district. There's a lot of rides coming to and from there during those morning and evening commute times. So just strategize about where you're going to hang out. Next slide is some things to avoid. Never accept cash. It's against our terms of use to accept cash. If a passenger does want to tip you, sometimes they think that they can just hand you cash. Just explain to them that, you know, for safety reasons and because it's against our terms of use, you're not allowed to accept cash, but you can show them how to add a tip in the app if they've tried to tip you that way. But don't request tips. That's something we definitely don't want drivers doing. It would be a really uncomfortable, awkward situation for passengers, and we don't make tips feel required with Lyft. They're not required, and we don't want people to feel obligated to tip. So they will tip if they want to, and if they choose to, just don't, you know, request them. This one seems like an obvious one, but do not accept personal calls while you're driving with passengers in the car, and only accept rides from the app. So if people see that big pink mustache on your car and they know that that is a potential way to get home, they might try to flag you down, especially on those busy weekend nights. Do not pick someone up who has flagged you down, but instead only accept rides that come to you via the app. Driver mode. So you can access driver mode in the app on, this is actually kind of an old screenshot, so don't mind if it looks really different than what you normally see, but on the top right there is a steering wheel where you can tap that to toggle driver mode on and off. There's also on the menu on the left side that slides out an option there where you can turn driver mode on and off. So obviously use this for starting and ending your Lyft shift, but also make sure you switch out of driver mode if you're taking a break, even if it's just a quick bathroom break, a quick gas fill up, anything like that. Make sure that you are out of driver mode during those breaks and only be in driver mode when you're, you know, in your car ready to accept ride requests. Inside your car, make sure your phone is mounted and charging. You do receive a phone mount in your welcome kit, but until you get your welcome kit, I highly recommend using your own, picking one up if you don't have one. It's very important for safety that your phone is mounted and that you're hands-free while you're driving, and it's important for your passengers to feel comfortable and safe as well. I know that, you know, I wouldn't feel necessarily safe if my driver had their phone in their hand and they were looking down at it the whole time they were driving me. So make sure that you've got it mounted. Make sure you've got it plugged in and charging, because it's gonna eat your battery, the Lyft app being on and running. And then make sure your car is clean inside and out. Important to keep it clean. That is one of the areas of improvement that passengers can mark if they rate you lower. And also just make sure the seats are clear and the trunk is clear. So I know sometimes you wanna really go above and beyond and have like snacks and drinks available for passengers and stuff like that, but it's important that you have the seats and the floor clear, so don't have like, you know, a cooler taking up floor space or things like that. And same with your trunk. You might get a passenger who's got luggage and needs to throw it in there. Make sure that that's clean and organized and not full of a bunch of stuff. So navigation is super important. When you accept a ride request, you'll have the passenger's location. All you need to do is hit the navigation button, and it's going to take you to your preferred navigation app. We recommend using Waze or Google Maps, whatever you prefer. And always use navigation to get to your passenger. It's going to give you the most efficient route. And it's important to remember that from the passenger side, they can see you and they can see where you're going. So, you know, if you start going the wrong way, that's going to look really bad to them. And also recommend using navigation in car, as I mentioned earlier, when you're taking them to their destination. And at the end of the ride, again, these are really old screenshots. Remind me to update these slides. But same concept, you guys get it. Left side's passenger, right side's driver. So you rate your passenger same way that they rate you, and they'll also have a payment screen. They can add a tip if they want. They'll see some awesome little fireworks, and then they can rate you. And if they rate you lower, the flags for improvement will also pop up. And lastly, just want to touch base about referral bonuses. So in the driver portal, we've actually made this information super handy in there. If you go to lyft.com/login, you can log into your driver portal. This is like the same area where if you want to reserve hours, you can, but also where you put in your payment info. There's a section on the left that'll say referrals, and that'll show you your referral link and your code. So your link is something you want to share with your friends who want to become Lyft drivers. We've listed it in there now by city, what the referral bonus is for each city. So not every city is going to have a referral bonus because we don't need drivers in every city. But if you've got a friend in one of those cities that's got a bonus, make sure they apply using your link, and you will both get that bonus if they complete 20 rides within 30 days. And then that same code that's attached to your referral link for drivers is the code that you can give out to passengers. It'll get them one free ride up to $20 as long as it's their first time using Lyft. They never requested a Lyft before. And then it'll get you a $10 bonus once they use it. So it's really awesome. So that's the little slides section. So now we'll kind of go into questions. Gonna find my screen here and end our screen sharing. Okay, so you guys should hopefully be able to see me again. And let me find the section here where we've got questions coming in, and we'll get started. I'm assuming you guys all know all of that information I just told you, but hopefully you learned something new too. Okay, so we've got, I'm new to Lyft driving and want to know the payment schedule. Is it weekly and what day of the week? I forgot. So good question. This is also in the FAQs in the Help Center, but we make our deposits on our end on Tuesdays, and it can arrive in your bank account anytime between Wednesday and Friday. It just depends on your bank. So. And yes, it's weekly. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what order these questions came in so that I can maybe answer them in the order they arrived, but it looks like there isn't a method to the madness. Okay, so Azim asks, what's the deal with the acceptance rate? Sometimes I get a request that is 15 miles away, and that would have me leave the hot zone, going who knows where and how far that is for me to go back to the hot zone. Okay, so your acceptance rating is simple, how many requests you accept. If you get a ride request that comes in and you don't accept it, your acceptance rating is going to go down. This goes back to what I mentioned about not being in driver mode unless you're ready to accept all ride requests that come your way. Sometimes ride requests are going to come from outside the busiest area. That can happen. It's still a ride. You're still going to make money off of it. I highly encourage you to take it. Feel free to follow up if I didn't answer that clearly, but yeah, it's not the end of the world if you leave the hot zone. You'll still, I mean, obviously you're getting a ride request from over there, so there is someone who needs a ride. All right. I hear you, but I can't see anything but the Lyft logo. Okay, looks like you guys couldn't see my slides, which happened partially last time. Dang it, my slides are so cute. I'm really bummed that you guys couldn't see them. Okay. So Carl asks, what are the $5 increments on the schedule page? Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about the earnings overlay. So when you go to the scheduling page, if you want to schedule, it'll show you what you can expect to make per hour during any given hour. It's basically just there to show you which hours are typically the busiest in your city. Scheduling is not required. You don't have to use the scheduling tool, but some people like to use it to kind of get an estimate of how much they can expect to earn for any given time. So I'm assuming that that's what you're talking about. There's another person that said, I can only see the Lyft icon. No, I thought my screen share was working. I'm so sad. Okay. Oh well. You guys heard everything I said, so that's all that matters. Okay, so Carl again asks, if you are driving someone to their requested location and then they want to go somewhere else, do you have to start a new Lyft, or can I keep the original Lyft running and it will keep track of my mileage and time, including wait time? Yes, it'll keep track of everything. There's no need to start a new Lyft. Sometimes people will ask you to run errands with them. Sometimes, they need to stop by their house and go inside and pick something up, and it takes a few minutes. That's fine too. Um, yeah, just keep the Lyft app running. Do not end it. Just keep it running. It's going to charge them for the wait time and all the mileage and distance that you go. So yeah. Okay. This is Pia Lamb. I have been voice calling passengers to confirm pickup and get their exact location. Is this okay? Should I be calling ahead or just showing up and then calling if I cannot find the passenger? Great question, Pia. I love this one. The app is designed so that you don't have to call a passenger. And often it might be kind of annoying for a passenger to get a phone call because they know they've sent the request, you've accepted it, and you're on your way. I highly recommend that you only call your passenger if you need to. That could be for you're stuck in traffic and maybe you're going to be taking a little bit longer than the ETA provided, which is definitely a good reason to call your passenger and give them a heads up. But yeah, if you get to their pickup location and can't find them for any reason, obviously give them a call then. But there's no need to make phone calls to every single passenger that requests a ride with you. Great question. I'm glad you asked that. Okay. On to the next. Carlos. I arrived at a pickup location yesterday. I called the customer. He said he would be coming back, called again, and this time he canceled the drive. I could not show him as a no-show. I think you mean cancel him as a no-show because he canceled before I could do it. Please let me know. Carlos, so there are certain situations, as I mentioned during the slides, don't know if you were in here yet, where the passenger will be charged for canceling. Check out our cancellation policy on the Help Center. So there are some situations where they will be charged, and then there are other situations where they'll only be charged if they're a no-show and you've canceled them as no-show. It sounds like maybe enough time hadn't lapsed for the passenger to be charged in this situation. But you didn't mention your summary at all in here, so maybe the passenger was charged and it came up on your driving summary, so double check that too. Okay, this is Azim. I would really like to see the total fare after the ride is complete. A running meter probably won't be good, but right after the ride ends, the driver should be able to see how much they've just made. I've heard this a lot lately. I don't know if it's something we will implement for a couple reasons. We definitely want the focus to be on the in-car experience and not the financial transaction that's happening. So that's definitely one reason. Also, we have to keep in mind that there are some cities that are donation-based and not on charges, and we don't want to create any kind of awkward situation for a passenger if they get out of the car and maybe lower the donation, and then the driver is still there and sees that and gets upset. Things like that. So we do have to consider our donation-based markets as well. But it's definitely some feedback I've heard from drivers often, so it could be something that we can implement in the future, but right now it's not something we have available. Carlos, I enjoy driving, but would also like to become a mentor and do car inspections. How do I sign up for this? Great question, Carlos. Everyone should definitely strive to be a mentor. You become a mentor based on doing a lot of rides for your market and having a lot of 5-star rides, or just maintaining a high rating overall. We want drivers to become mentors who are spending a lot of time on the road. So if you're driving often and completing a lot of rides and still maintaining a high-star rating during all of that, you'll definitely get the invite to become a mentor. It's not something that you can just apply for, but we'll invite you. So just keep giving rides and keep giving awesome rides, and you'll get there. There's also on the Help Center, if you search mentoring, it gives a little bit of overview of the mentoring program. So if you want to check that out too, it'll give you kind of an idea of expectations and all that. Okay, Carl, again, I was hired a week ago and my brother did too. He has a 2010 Malibu with dark windows. Do you think the window tint is the reason for him not being accepted? Thank you. Okay, so I thought you said your brother was accepted, so I'm a little bit unsure. I don't know. I couldn't tell you specifically why your brother may not have been approved as a driver. If he wants, he can shoot an email to drive@lyft.com and follow up about his application there. All right, this is Jay. I first started with 100% commissions. What's the difference of my take-home pay? And why doesn't Lyft tell me how much I make after a drop-off? And lastly, when will there be a $5 no-show charge? Because that's not right for drivers who waste their time. First of all, there is a $5 no-show charge. This is new. It's pretty new. We emailed about it. We posted about it on the hub. It just went into effect. It might have just been this Monday of this week. If not, it was Monday of last week. Excuse me for not knowing. We've got a lot of changes and updates coming out. So that's covered. That's something that we've been pushing for a while. So I'm glad that that finally came out. I know that it's important to you guys to be compensated for your time. And the difference of your take-home pay. Okay, so Lyft normally takes a 20% commission from all rides, and we were doing a spring bonus, I guess, where we were giving drivers 100%. We were taking any commission, and then we kind of extended it through the summer. And as most of you know, we just sent out an email update that commissions are returning, but we're doing it in a way that you can still keep 100% of your earnings, or you can keep, 85%, 90%, 95% based on how many hours you drive. So definitely take a look at that email. There's a little chart that tells you how many hours you have to drive to qualify for which power driver bonus, and that'll kind of give you an idea of what your take home will be. But again, it just depends on how many how many hours you drive each week. And then your other question was, why doesn't Lyft tell me how much I make after a drop-off, which we just went over on the last question. So I will skip that one. All right, I cannot hear you, but I do have questions. I signed up with my phone number. How can I sign up with Facebook? Dominique, unfortunately, you can't. I get this question a lot, and I get it every single Hangout I do, and I'm so sorry, but unfortunately, if you signed up with your phone number instead of your Facebook, there's nothing we can do to change that at this time. I am assuming you're asking because you want access to the Facebook Driver Lounge, which is why everyone asks. And I'm actually an online community manager for a couple of the driver lounges, so I know how awesome those are and how much it matters to you guys to be involved in them. So I'm really pushing for a fix to this, but right now there's no way for us to get you added. It is something that I think we are going to fix. It's just there are some other things that are more important that need to be taken care of first, but we'll definitely let you guys know. I'm sure we'll send out an email to those of you who signed up with your phone number instead of Facebook to let you know that you can join. What's the deal with acceptance rate? Okay, I already answered that one from Azim. Robin asks, if I am assigned to Detroit area, am I allowed to pick up in Ann Arbor? And you can Lyft in any city that is in your Lyft state. So, if you're a San Diego driver, and you're going to LA for the weekend, you can definitely do some rides out there. This is only if, you're going to be maybe there for a weekend and just do a couple rides here and there. You should always be in our system as the city that, sorry, I've got calendar reminders yelling at me. You should always be signed up in the city that you're doing the most driving. So if you're going to be doing the most driving in a different city in your state or out of state, if you're moving, there's an email for that. It's switch@lyft.com, and just let us know. But otherwise, you can drive, for a day, a weekend, whatever, in any Lyft city that is within your own state, but not out of state. Okay, Chris. Assign a ride in Marina Del Rey. It took me a long time to get there. Is there a maximum distance between the driver and the customer before the ride is placed? I did drive a lot more to get to the customer than It looks like there's like a character limit on these questions, and some of the long ones are getting cut off. So I don't think that I got all of your question, Carlos. But it seems that you're asking about, you know, how far away a passenger might be that you'll get matched up with. You're gonna get matched up with a passenger if you're the closest driver to them. So even if it is a little bit of a ways out, make sure you are picking them up. If it seems a little bit further, you know, it seems like there were probably drivers closer. It could just be that drivers that were closer were having a connectivity issue, or perhaps they were, you know, paired up with this passenger previously and someone rated someone a 3 and they can't get paired up anymore, something like that. For the most part, you're going to have pickups that are pretty close by, but sometimes you might get some that are a little bit further away. Feel free to like drop another question in there if I didn't answer it. It looks like yours got cut off. Okay, Azim says, every time I need to log in, I need to enter my phone number and wait for a verification code. Is there no other way to log in? That doesn't sound right. Azim, I would recommend sending a screenshot of that to support@lyft.com and checking in with them, because that shouldn't happen. So we'll get that fixed for you. Okay. Therese says, same question as someone earlier. I initially signed up with my phone number instead of Facebook account. Can I switch this? Not at this time. Hoping to have a fix in the future. I'll keep pushing for it. In fact, I'm going to write it on a Post-it right now that it's a hot topic this week. Okay. Carl asks, will they be having a driver referral program in Sacramento soon? Oh, Carl, I'm biased. I love Sacramento drivers so much. I helped launch there, and I know a lot of the founding drivers. If you're a driver there and you're going to the Hangout on Sunday, you have to fist bump me in person because I'll be there. Side note, if there's not a referral bonus there right now, it just means that we don't need drivers at this time. If we get to a place where we could use more drivers, yes, there will be one implemented. It'll be updated in the driver portal under that referral section, so just make sure to check back there. And if you have friends in other Lyft cities where there is a bonus, refer them. You'll still get that bonus. Okay, Carlos says, oh, I answered this question already about mentoring. Did I just finish all the questions? It's only 11:40. I thought I would be swamped. Okay, more coming in. Azim again says, I was not referred by a driver, but shouldn't I still get a bonus for completing 20 rides in 30 days? No, that's only part of their referral program. Emily says, are there rules with picking up riders and dropping them off at the airport? I'm in San Diego, California. Thanks. Hey, Emily, I'm your community manager in SoCal. So if you are on Facebook, as soon as you switch to your SoCal Regional Lounge, you'll be seeing a lot more of me. Airport rides, you're welcome to do pickups and drop-offs. The only thing that isn't allowed is waiting around at airports, so make sure you're not doing that. Got an FAQ on that. Basically says everything I just said, but yep, go right ahead. All right, looks like I don't have any questions. I'm going to wait because I'm sure more are going to come in. Let's see how many of you are watching. 17. Quite fewer than the 80 we had last time. No more questions? Okay. How about you use the Ask a Question feature to tell me your favorite thing about lifting so far? Like your favorite Lyft experience or your favorite passenger or anything. I want to hear it. Carl just asked a question. I'm also having the same issue with having to enter my phone code after entering phone number. Can that be added to the Post-it? That's definitely going to be like an individual support issue. So again, like I said to the other driver that asked that question, just email support, use a screenshot. It's something that we'll probably have to fix on the back end for you, and we'll definitely do that. Emily says one more question, but the question is not showing up on my screen yet. Is this Hangout a month meeting, says Robin. I'm not sure what you mean by that. We're trying to do this Hangout weekly, actually, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We didn't have it last week. I was out of the office, I think. We didn't have it last week for some reason, but we will be having it every week. But I mean, if you guys attend it once, you're probably going to get all your questions answered, and it's going to be the same thing every time, so it's probably not fun for you to keep coming back and seeing my face all the time. Okay, Emily's question came through. During our first 30 rides before the pink mustache, is there something we have to display in our dashboard while in driver mode to distinguish us as Lyft? Emily, in California there is. In other states right now, I don't believe there is at this time. Sorry, I know a little bit more about California stuff because I manage cities that are in California. But if you're a California driver, yes, you get you get shipped a decal that goes on your window right away, right after you get approved. But other than that, you're fine to just wait until your mustache comes if you're in a different state. And we'll email you guys and update you if that changes at all. Ed Name asks, when do I get paid? I just started last Monday, so I said this one earlier too, so you get paid weekly. Our deposits on our end go through Tuesdays. Most drivers see their earnings to show up between Wednesday and Friday. It just depends on your bank, so it can be any of those days. I think some drivers even see theirs as early as Tuesday night, but expect it anytime between Wednesday and Friday each week. Rachel asks, will you talk about how rides are prioritized to drivers? I'm not positive if I understand what you're asking, but ride requests just go to whichever driver is closest, so there's no other way for you to get priority. Let me know. Feel free to, throw in a follow-up question if that didn't answer. Azim, can I go back and view this from the beginning because my computer bugged out a few times and I missed the answers to the questions I asked? Oh no, Azim, I answered all your questions too. I think you can, but I'm not sure how. So maybe try to go to the original Google Hangout page and see if you can play it afterwards, but I'm not sure. I'm not the most tech savvy with Google, sorry. Rachel says questions aren't working, but I don't know what that means because it came through, so clarify, please. Robin says, I want a decal too. Can I get one? This is only for new drivers in California at this time, so if that's not you, then no, unfortunately. Michael White. I know a Mike White in LA. I heard a question about requiring a code for login. I believe he was referring to logging in on the computer. I get the same thing myself. Okay, it sounds like this is the third issue of this. And again, you guys, you'll need to email support because that sounds like a weird tech issue that they'll have to fix on the back end for you. It's not something that I can look at right now, unfortunately. But I'm going to write it down because so many of you have asked. Verification code. Nobody told me their favorite thing about Lyft so far. I'm really sad. Okay. I'm waiting for more questions to come through. I will gladly stick around for the next 15 minutes until 12 if you guys still have questions. But if not, we can always end it early too. That's fine. No new questions? You guys just gonna sit here and stare at my face for 15 minutes? Because that's weird. One thing I didn't cover in the slides because it's so new that I haven't put it in there yet. The tap to arrive feature is very new. I'm curious if there are some of you who who started before we implemented that and have seen the change. And curious to hear your feedback. Ooh, yay, more coming through. Adios. Thanks for your help. Have a great week. You too, Carl. Thank you for joining and watching and being here and asking questions. Rachel says, for instance, if I am waiting at the airport in the long-term waiting area for an hour and then another driver drives up to the terminal to drop off. Sorry, other one came in and it disappeared. Would they get the ride since they are closest to the terminal, even though I've been there for the longest? I see what you're saying. It always goes to the closest driver. I mean, sometimes there are things that are going to affect it in a different way that might cause you to get it. It's a very complicated system, and I'm not an engineer, but yeah. I wouldn't wait in the long-term waiting area at the airport if I were you, though. I would just head to a hot area in your city's coverage area. Eric says, I've got a question. Cool. I've got an answer, hopefully. Emily says, I just moved out to San Diego 8 months ago. Welcome. Welcome to California if you came from out of state. My third Lyft ride, I picked up the guy who lived in my apartment before I moved in. It was crazy. Everyone I have picked up has been super. I'm so excited to drive more. Yay! That's awesome. I think that small world moments in Lyfts are like the best thing in the world, and it blows my mind how often they happen. I was a driver before I worked at HQ, and I had a lot of those crazy small world moments, and it's really wild how often they happen and how small they can really be. And I love hearing those stories about from other drivers. So thank you for sharing that. It's super cool. I had to figure out how to ask questions. Bottom right to settings, turn annotations on, new screen will pop up, and voila. SG. I haven't figured out a lot of things myself, so like why some of you couldn't see. Could all of you not see my screen when I was sharing slides? If there's anyone who's here that was here earlier when I was sharing slides, can you guys tell me if you saw them or not? I know a couple people said that they couldn't see them, but I'm hoping that that wasn't everyone. Rachel says the questions seem to be taking over 5 minutes to get to you. Well, what the hell, technology? Internet? Come on. Michael says, I've seen the slide to arrive before the change. Personally, I don't like the tap feature because I've tapped accidentally and then couldn't get back to the main screen. Good feedback. But you shouldn't be reaching for your phone while you're still driving to your passenger anyway. I'm not sure why you would tap it accidentally, but feel free to throw that in there and we'll talk about it. Lydia says, do you know how long it takes for the decal to be mailed? I'm in San Diego and a new driver. The last I heard was that there was like a period of time where we weren't sending them until you completed one ride. So if you're in that category and maybe haven't given a ride yet, that could have caused a delay. But the last I was told is that now as soon as your mentoring session is approved that we're shipping them out. I think we're also shipping them out in batches just to make it easier. So there might be kind of a once a week thing where we take a look at everyone in California who was just approved and then send them out. So could take a little bit longer, but shouldn't be too long. Feel free to email support if you if it's been a while and you haven't received one at all yet, and we'll make sure that gets out to you. Emily says, I couldn't see the slides because I had the screen minimized in a smaller box, not full screen. I heard you though. Thanks so much. Is there a way to obtain the slides at some point later? No, but it's not super important. I mean, it's basically all basic stuff that should have been covered from your mentor anyway. And it's all stuff that's available on the Help Center. So if you do have any questions that, you know, have been unanswered, burning questions, definitely check out the Help Center and search for stuff there. Michael says, I did not see the slides. I came in a bit late and all I saw was the end of a YouTube video. All right. I think I need like a tech assistant for when I'm doing this to just be like standing by and I can be like, help me, I don't know how it works. SG, hiya, is there a penalty for not starting right away? Approved 2 days ago but haven't started yet. And by the way, yes, the Lyft logo was up for a while, and, oh, dang it. It like goes away when another question comes in. And your PC screen was up at the beginning. Okay, well, I'm really sad you guys didn't see my slides. No one has said that they saw my slides yet. To answer your question, though, no, there's not a penalty for not starting right away. Do encourage you to try to complete 30 rides within 30 days. 20 rides if a friend referred you so that you guys can get that bonus, but no penalty. Take your time. Sometimes people go on vacation. That's the beauty of Lyft. You can drive when you want. Okay, this looks like it's the second half of questions, so. Okay, Eric, it looks like you have a long question and it's coming up in like several different questions. So, and like not in the right order. So let me see if I can find the answer or the beginning and end. Okay, let me go to Azim's. I got an email about a details and updates, but there wasn't much there. Are these things free, or do we have to buy the games myself? Also, is that a +1? So if it's an official Lyft event that's been organized by a driver event coordinator, usually there's financial backing from Lyft, and usually it'll say that in there, like food and drinks provided by Lyft, or, you know, potluck, bring your own food. Usually the details should be on the Splash That page. I'm assuming it was the Splash That page that you were linked to. But yeah, I highly encourage that you go to Hangouts. There are a lot of, like, if you get it in an email, it's definitely an official Lyft one. There are a lot of like unofficial Hangouts that drivers organize all the time. If you're a member of the Facebook Lounge, you'll see stuff there. So that's definitely a really cool way to meet your fellow drivers and get access to all the community fun stuff. Someone just said, what event? Well, there are lots of events in all the Lyft cities. They're actually weekly Hangouts, too. We're working on getting them implemented for all cities. They're in a lot of cities right now, but they're not in every city. Check out community.lyft.com. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a post that says, let's get social. That's the first part of the title. Click on that one, and it lists all the weekly Hangouts that we have for every city right now. They're really cool. They're just like casual. It's basically just a place, day, and time that's been established for your city where you can go every week and very likely expect to hang out with fellow drivers there. And like I said, we are working on getting them established in all cities. In some cities, we're just waiting for a driver to step up and say, hey, I want a weekly hangout in my city. Can I help pick a place? So if your city doesn't have one, you can let us know, and we would be happy to help you get one started. Okay, I read something that said the minimum fare was $7 and change, but I have a ride in my history that was $7 flat. Azim, I highly recommend going to our help center, looking up your city. That'll show you the rates for your city. As far as I know, the minimums are always a flat dollar amount, no change. I've never seen one that's like $3.45 or whatever. I'm not sure which city you're driving in, but just look up your city's page and you'll see the rates listed there. And if you ever have a question about pay, like something that's on your summary that you're not sure where it came from or how it worked or how it totaled out, there's an awesome email address for that. It's pay@lyft.com. So make sure to go there. Robin says, I like Lyft. I received a referral code, and when I first started, I received a second code. Now I'm confused on which code to use. Robin, so sorry about this. I'm glad you asked. That was a really annoying little bug that happened in our system. The truth is you can use either code. They're both going to be linked to your account. They're both going to work in the same way. I would recommend you probably got one that was just a random combination of letters and numbers, and then you probably got one that was some form of your name, either like your initials, like the first two of your first name and first two of your last name, or maybe it's just Robin and some numbers. I mean, I would recommend using that one. It's going to be more personalized and probably easier for you to remember, but they will both work in the same way. They'll both, you know, get you the referral bonus and all that. So sorry about the confusion. I know a lot of drivers were confused by that. Hopefully we got that little buggy fixed so that doesn't happen next time we send out your codes in an email. Rachel says, is Lyft starting to do the small dashboard mustaches instead of the big front ones? Will the mustache automatically, it went away, where'd it go? There it is. Will the mustache automatically be mailed upon completion of 30 rides? So yes, your welcome kit is shipped after you've done 30 rides. Sometimes it could take a couple weeks, so don't be surprised if you're driving a lot and you've gotten to like 50 or 70 rides and your welcome kit still hasn't arrived. Just, you know, give the shipping process some time. One sec. And is Lyft starting to do the small dashboard mustaches instead of the big front ones? Well, to be honest, in San Francisco we are testing using the cuddle stash in that way. But there are also drivers that just really like they're called the cuddle stash, by the way, the small mustache. I wish I had one in here to show you. There isn't. But there are just some drivers that will have the cuddle stash on their dashboard. I drive around with it on mine, like when I'm not even lifting, just to like always be rocking the Lyft stash. So maybe you're just seeing it around because people are wearing it. But right now, still that big furry, beautiful girl stash. Okay. Emily says, I'm not quite sure if I logged in initially with Facebook or my phone number, but I hear you talking about the specific area Hangout page on Facebook. How do I get into that? Okay. So if you did, so you will, every driver gets an email. I mean, you get several emails during your first week of driving, right? And one of them will invite you to the Facebook Driver Lounge. So for new drivers, there's a nationwide group for all new Lyft drivers. And you live there until you complete 30 rides and 30 days of driving. There are like 50 lounge mentors in there. So these are like experienced, seasoned drivers from cities across the nation that are there to answer your questions. I also help manage that lounge, so I'm in there answering questions. And then after you hit your 30 rides in 30 days, you will automatically transfer to a regional lounge. So there's like a SoCal lounge, Pacific, South, Midwest, Northeast, all that. There are 6 of them. Only if you signed up with Facebook and not your phone number. It looks like you said you're not sure whether you logged in, whether you signed up with Facebook or your phone number, but if you get that email inviting you to the group and you don't have access, that probably means you signed up with your phone number. And again, I've answered this question a couple times before, but I'll just reiterate. If you did sign up with your phone number, there's currently no way for us to get you added to the Facebook lounges, but I'm like pushing so hard for a fix to that, so hopefully that'll change soon. Azim says, thank you for answering all these questions and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. I'm so glad. I just guessed, but I don't know how else you would pronounce it. Like, how do people mess up your name? Like a Zim, maybe? Any plans to make the Lyft app work in landscape mode? Would be cool if I didn't have to always take my phone off my dash mount in between rides. Oh, so you have a mount that mounts your phone this way instead. I don't know if there are any plans. I've actually never heard that question before, so you've definitely stumped me. I'm sorry that I don't have an answer. I would just suggest at this time getting a mount that holds your phone this way. That might be helpful. The one that comes in your welcome kit, sounds like you probably haven't received it yet, does mount it vertically, so maybe that'll help you. Okay, guys, there are a few more questions, but it's time for me to go. I don't want to leave any questions unanswered, but unfortunately I have to. Let me just answer this one more question. My mentor mentioned getting a download or template for the $25 handout card, and the delivery time for the cards is exploding along with the new drivers. Where to get it, or false? So there is a PDF file that you can download. Let me find, if I can find the link right now, and I'll pop it in there as a question. So I'm going to do it as a question, so hopefully it'll come up on the side. I think you guys all see these questions as they're coming through, so you should see the link that I just shared. Hopefully I can see it. But if not, go to community.lyft.com, and then along the right side there's updates, and there's an article that's titled Making It Rain Referrals. Our printers have been back ordered for a little while, so it has been a bit more time, not as timely as we would like, in getting referral cards out to you. So you can download the PDF and have them printed yourself there. If not, you can always order them yourself, and I'm also going to submit that link as a question at get.lyft.com/referral cards. And normally it can take 2 to 3 weeks to ship, but sometimes it'll be faster and sometimes it'll be longer because we're back ordered. Okay, it's 12:01, but last question. Rachel asks, how do I get a cuddle mustache? A cuddle stash is a very hot commodity that even people at Lyft HQ are like dying to get their hands on. The best way to get any kind of cool Lyft swag is by going to a driver hangout. We have driver event coordinators. There's another link I should share with you guys. So there are different driver roles that you can sign up for, which are really awesome. I'm going to share the link to the driver roles page here. And there are driver event coordinators who throw driver hangouts. They organize them for you guys. We help back them. And we also send out swag to... By swag, I mean things like cuddle stashes, t-shirts, stickers, things like that. So going to an official Lyft hangout is going to be the best way to get that stuff. Don't quote me on that because I can't promise that it will always be there. Sometimes it might be like an unofficial hangout, or maybe like, you know, it wasn't planned with enough advance time for us to get stuff shipped, but that's how you get the fun stuff. So I see those links came through on my end, so hopefully they came through to your guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been super fun. If you're in the Facebook group for new drivers, I would love for you to just like post in there and tell me how this went, how you liked it, give me feedback. If you were here for the slides portion, was that helpful? Was it super basic and you knew everything, or did you learn new stuff? I would just love to hear your feedback. So if you are in the Facebook Lounge, I'd love for you to throw that in there. Feel free to tag me, Stacy with an EY. And other than that, we are all done, and it's been wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining, and have an amazing day.